And welcome everybody to another episode of the most important conversations, Jungle and the Gardener. We've, as we announced on our last episode, we are now calling this the Jungle and the Gardener. Just a reminder for those of you who are like, I didn't sign up for a gardening show. I don't really know what this is. Mm-hmm. These are metaphors. These are metaphors for the masculine and the feminine. The gardener being the masculine energy in the jungle, the creative force being the feminine energy of all life. And we're exploring how these energies show up in relationships and all the things in relationships that, sex and relationships that are on your mind, that are on people's mind, that are in the mind of the culture and the zeitgeist right now. And last week we were talking about creating co-creative relationships. And what is a co-creative relationship? And there were so many different themes and topics that we decided, you know what, let's just continue this for another week. But before we get into it, I just thought that there's a couple things that are going on, which are sort of top of mind right now in the news that are affecting sex and relationships. One being these AI girlfriend and boyfriends that are starting to become pretty popular. We're not going to spend this show on it. We do want to talk about this at some point and kind of what's behind all of this. But just, it's been in the news a lot recently because these things are getting so, real, I guess, for some people. Like they're
engaging. They're doing it. Like they're like, screw the apps, like this person, or even bots on the apps. Like there's the bots on the apps, which is crazy.
Yeah.
That's even a thing, like to keep people paying their money. I'm like, ridiculous. Anyway. The same.
It's also, so it's like AI relationships and AI counseling, both of which are happening at the same time right now, where people are like, yeah, just, why do I need a human being to help me work through my stuff? I'll just talk to this AI bot. Or why do I need a real boyfriend or girlfriend? I'll just have, and to me,
it still astonishes me. I'm like, well, there's so many other facets to that.
To this talking, okay, and then so then there's the whole sex piece of this, but sex robots are coming. So, I could see, they're already here in a very rudimentary way. I could see a time when there are probably a significant number of people who are in relationship with an AI brain-based sex robot.
Yep.
And if anyone's seen the movie Ex Machina, if you haven't, watch it. That's not probably too far away in terms of these very lifelike. Well, I guess they're technically robots, but
yeah, they did a Black Mirror on it too. That was really good, really well done.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. So it's just like but the point is life is alive, right? And so the desire to be in control, to feel safe, to feel like, oh, I'm not going to get hurt. I'm not going to have to be someone I'm not. I'm not going to, all of this, the risk of being alive and authentic, instead of learning how to be more like that and to strengthen your ability to be alive and to have fun. Now it starts to be fun. Like at first it's hard. I'm not going to lie. It's hard until it's fun.
Yeah.
But it'll never fulfill the void. So there's always going to be that nagging human soul part of us that's going to be like, nah, this isn't it.
Well, you know what also hits me is humans are so tribal, and I can see this thing happening where it's like the people with real human partners and the people with AI robot partners as being sort of a lower class, kind of like, oh, you couldn't get the human.
Interesting. Yeah. Or they're like, oh, I'm above it. I don't need people.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
that's how, like, however they want to paint it.
Spun. Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's a whole bunch of things we should explore in a separate show about this, because it speaks a lot to the state of where we are as a culture, the state of loneliness that exists in the culture, the state of, I don't know, like, I guess just assuaging all of our worst impulses so that we don't have to change or transform ourselves and grow and become, people that are more connected to their bodies, people that are more connected to each other, people that are more connected to nature. Like everything that I always talk about, that I stand for, reconnecting people to themselves, to each other, and to nature. I mean, this is the opposite, because there's nothing
because
natural
it's
about
not,
this. So
you can't control it.
yeah,
So like the vulnerability is the absence of control. And when people are like living from their head and they don't want to feel bad feelings, and that's how they've been conditioned, which is most of my clients, like they're like, what do you mean I don't feel feelings? It's so interesting sometimes to talk to people. I'm like, well, tell me how you feel anger. Tell me. And they're like, oh, I do this. I'm like, you're not feeling your feelings. It's like you think you are because you have an emotional reaction to something, which isn't necessarily emotional intelligence. But again, this isn't, people are online talking about mental health, online talking about this stuff, but they're still not collectively getting it. They still are going to choose control over how can I become more authentic, even if they're reading a book about authenticity, because it is hard. It is really confronting to peel back who you thought you had to be lovable.
Yeah. It's a letting go.
It's totally letting go.
It's just letting go and surrender. Yeah. Letting your messy, badass self come out, you know?
Yeah. And it's the shame, right? Like we've been programmed with so much shame through the school system, through the societal metrics of success, like be this, do that. And then, oh yeah, I was going to say, there's just this collective resignation of, I guess I'll just do this. Like it's the incel, it's the red pill, it's the like, well, fuck women then, like they're wrong. Like it's all of this emotional temper tantrum happening for people that aren't getting their needs met.
Yeah. Yeah.
So companies are being like, sure, I will provide this for you.
I can serve that need.
Like,
I can serve that need for you to not have
$50 a month.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Anyway, so or you could start dating, or you could start hanging out with people and being awkward and getting to being more you so that you meet more people like you, and being okay with being alone, like, and being fully and completely content, even if you're feeling lonely, not feeling like something's missing, because you can feel your feelings. So there's another reality that we are doing. This is what you and I do. We help people into that reality.
Into that reality. Yeah. Yeah. Anyone who's seen the movie Blade Runner, the whole thing is about this, AI robot girl that this sort of, it's a noir kind of sci-fi. He falls in love with, and he's supposed to kill. Like, so what's happened in the movie is all of the AI robots have gotten violent, and so they have these cops, these sort of noir cops who are supposed to go kill them, but he falls in love with this one, and so it's this conflict. Anyway, this is all for another show, but we want to just kind of to let you all know that this is on our mind, and we're going to cover it soon. Let's take a really quick break, and then we're going to get into co-creative relationships part 2. We'll be right back. And welcome back, everybody, to The Jungle and the Gardener. We are talking about co-creative relationships. This is part 2 to a podcast that we did last time. And where we left off, Jenna, I remember you saying that you had a lot that you wanted to say about this. We didn't really cover it. We touched on it, but this idea of the one, like there's the one. There's 8 billion people on the planet, but there's just one, right?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
It's just so funny. If anyone is really in their body, like when you hear something and you're like, that's not true, my whole body went, bleh. You said there's 8 billion people and there's the one. I just think it's a complete fallacy. So I do believe at any given moment, like we're constantly changing, people are constantly changing and evolving, and relationships haven't been created to really train people to, like, I mean, there's a bunch of marriage training to like evolve together. So this, like, there's this one that's going to like magically co-evolve with you the entire time, is just really sophomoric. It's just really, it's really naive. It's really cute. It's just like, I don't believe in it at all. And if other people do, that's fine. And the problem with that is that you're never, then you meet another human who's a person and you're like, oh, well, this can't be the one because they don't like puppies.
I already have the one.
Yeah. Or they, whatever. It's just so limiting. both in the dating process and in the marriage process of the discovery after year 1, after year 2. Well, this isn't my person. And then who is like your person? You know, you're two people being yourselves together is my definition of a relationship. Like, so you want to support that. And then there's the relationship that you're growing together. Like you're both growing a plant. You both need to tend to the plant. So the one concept limits our ability to find compatible partners for who we are in that moment to become more of who we really are. That's how I see relationships, is the opportunity to become more of who I really am through the relationship versus we're a transactional society. Oh, I have the one now. Then
okay, but we'll get to it. I can check it off the list. We'll get to the list again in a second.
Yeah. And it just keeps people really robbed, is my point of the concept of the one.
So I can just like feel all of these, and I would include myself in this category, these romantics.
Yeah, I want to. Okay? I sing love songs by...
Yeah. Now, what you're singing, the love song you're singing to me right now, through what you're saying is, it's just another sad love song. I don't think it was Tony Braxton in the 90s.
I love Tony Braxton so much.
So you're singing that song. And then the other, because, you know, I'm a musician, so I think in terms of lyrics and songs. It's the first thing that always comes into my mind, by the way. So as soon as we started talking about the one, I was like, oh, damn, Shania Twain's going to be pissed, you know, because you're still the one.
Not.
You know?
Now, you said this before, but if you actually listen to the lyrics, that's a really genuine song. You're still the one I turn to. You're still the one. I agree with that. That person can be that one in that moment that you are choosing.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I don't disagree. 100%. So here's what I think is so fascinating about this idea of the one. By definition, there's only one because it's the one.
Your soulmate, your twin flame, all of this other spiritual stuff too.
Now, for me, the way I think about this, first of all, the way most people think about it is there's only one, so I have to block all others out. And underneath that is this person is somehow going to complete me, right? Like the Renee Zellweger thing. Yeah. Right? Was it Bridget Jones' Diary or Jerry Maguire or one of those? Jerry Maguire. You complete me. So what we talk about all the time is, no, you are whole and complete, and your life's path is to go within, to drop the conditioning, surrender, and allow the true whole and complete you to engage with the world, as opposed to all of the conditioning and these layers and these shields and these protective things we set up to hide.
Let's speak to what those things are, because the more and more I do this work, the more people don't know what that is. They don't know being a people pleaser is conditioning. They don't know trying to be, they don't know what their conditioning is. So what are some conditioning things that you want to call out so people can understand that?
Well, so anytime we're seeking validation from someone is a conditioned thing. And we contort ourselves to get the validation, even in the case of how we may be contorting ourselves is not authentic to us. So we may be suppressing our emotions to be liked. Yeah. Suppressing our emotions, and staying in our head about things is something that people do. So suppressing the emotions, to go deeper than that, is ignoring how you're feeling, ignoring the wisdom of your emotions and what's really coming up for you in that moment. Right. And so the idea that someone else is going to complete me is I am not whole and complete in and of myself. And I believe that because I'm so emotionally repressed. I believe that because I'm in validation seeking. I believe that because I'm in people pleasing mode. Yep.
And it's convenient to believe that they're the one.
Well, and the other thing is it reinforces an orientation of focusing outside of yourself, as opposed to going inside yourself. Right. So it actually, and the other thing I'll say is it almost guarantees codependence.
Yeah. Oh my God. Those are the best love songs. I find them a little nauseating to sing now, but there's a reason everyone's singing in their car and crying in the shower.
And it lets you off the hook. There's nothing for you to do. They're going to complete me. Hook.
Exactly. So I just have to find them.
Yeah. Right? I don't have to change. I just have to find the person that's going to complete me.
And that's where the list comes
And then the list. Okay. So it's interesting, right? So what's on your list? That's interesting. What's on your list is correlative in some way, if you really look at it, to the parts in yourself that you have no approval for and you haven't allowed yourself to be whole and complete with.
Yeah.
So your list is actually a really powerful tool. I said last week, throw away the list. And I guess I want to just change that slightly and say, throw away the list if it's going to reinforce you looking outside yourself to find completion. But if you have the awareness to be able to look at the list and go, oh, wow, these are all the things that I feel I lack or I'm in deficit. And instead of expecting the one to come and complete this list for me, how can I use this list to go within and help myself get whole and complete around these things?
Yeah. Become the list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you get into a relationship with someone and it's
they're going to show
interdependent,
you
right? We're in relationship because we want to be, not because this person's going to complete us in some way. We're in relationship because now it's play, now it's a dance, now it's exploratory, now it's an adventure. It is no longer me showing up broken and needing this person to complete me. And in which case, that is
not the norm, though. Like the norm.
No, I know
everything else.
No, I get that. We're saying that should be the norm.
Yes, right? We want to invite people into a new way of relating that is co-creative. Yes.
Yeah, and it's at that moment you can be co-creative. You can't be co-creative in a relationship if one or both people are showing up expecting the other person to complete them.
Yeah. And expecting them to be this fantasy person, like only that's the illusion of conditional love, that we also have conditions for ourselves, which is the reason we have shame that creates the conditions and the personas and all that kind of stuff like that. But if they're the one, then, now you have to be the one. So now, do you accept, are you lovable if you're messy? Are you lovable? So now we look at, and then the beauty of relationship is that you can be a complete mess and the person still loves you and accepts you. And it's like, that's cool. And now you have an invitation to now have a new reality where, you're not leaving. Not broken. So that's the beauty of the relationship. But if you're stuck in, now I need to be the one, now you have to be inauthentic, perfect. And you just can't. Like if you're in a partnership, like there's only so much you can hide.
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing about lists, I want to also introduce the incredible power of confirmation bias and the way that our brain works. You may see in this person that is the one for you, that's completing your list, things that they don't see about themselves and don't even relate to. But you're seeing it because it's a confirmation bias thing. And so this is where breakdowns happen. It's like, in your mind, you're like, I thought you were like this, or I thought it's like all these breakdowns because people show up in ways that don't conform to the list. And you're like, damn, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, for sure.
That wasn't on the list.
Right. And that, people are going to see what they want to see, and they are going to protect themselves from what they might potentially fear. Right. Yeah. So as you're in the relationship, they're going to start to look for the red flags and where are you going to hurt me the way I think I'm going to get hurt? And that's the other confirmation bias, is that you can see, you can interpret the way they text back, they don't call you right away. They don't you can interpret things as danger signs, but it's just the person who was busy, or it's just and it's creating excuses for people, because that's another thing you don't want to do all the time. But they will confirm, see, he doesn't love me. He didn't He didn't remember that I like those potatoes. And so we create these interpretations to confirm that they're not the one. Now that they're not the one, now your brain's seeing, wow, they're not the one, and finding the way to break up with them because they're clearly not the one. And that,
the number of potatoes who've broken up relationships, Jenna, I don't even know. Right.
It's amazing what people will lock in on.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Scallops. You're bringing me scallop potatoes?
I don't like them. I clearly and then it's just you don't love me. Right.
Maybe maybe he's not the one.
Yeah.
Scallop potatoes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. But I've had, like, I mean, I've talked to some people, like, you put the spoons in the wrong drawer. You're not listening.
Yeah. 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 The meaning making activity of our brain is always on overdrive, right? What does it mean that he put the spoons in the wrong drawer?
Well, they're not asking what it means. They're assuming you clearly aren't listening to me, which means you don't love me.
They're projecting what it means.
Yes.
So this is the cycle you'll end up, anyone listening, you end up in when you are not doing the work on yourself to be whole and complete, to approach every relationship, and then coming back to the one. I think that there are many ones, so to speak, that are, out of 8 billion people, the probability that I can find many people to be in relationship with that, and especially if I'm coming from a co-creative and an interdependency kind of place, right? As opposed to codependency.
Right. And like completion, right? Yeah. So the idea that this person's going to complete you, or that, okay, now we're together, so everything's fine. Life is going to keep moving. You're going to keep evolving. And that should be the goal, right? You keep moving. Not there's always more to do. That's a gross way to look at it, because there is always more to do. I have to do my dishes, and I'm going to have to do them again tomorrow. But to actually know that life is continually evolving. So you're never, so that if you have the desire to be like, oh, I'm done, I did it, unfortunately, you're going to be chronically disappointed and put that on people, put that on your relationships, because especially in midlife or beyond, it's you have now seen how these things don't work. Put these conditions on people, hoping if I go to the, marriage number 4, and that's not throwing any shade at those people. It's like, well, that just shows there's something here for you to empower. There's a pattern here that's not working for you. Or maybe they'll be the one. Okay, now I'm going to date the opposite person. So none of it's co-creative if it's reactive, right? If I date a brunette instead of a blonde, transformed. And anyone who is doing these things, this isn't about feeling badly about it. It's about taking the opportunity to become more whole through your own self-relationship first, then in how you're relating to others with curiosity and exploration. And we talk about play, and you've been talking about the concept of spontaneous living that is more alive.
So I have a little confession that I think a lot of people will probably relate to. And the confession is that I'm such a deep romantic about everything in life that there's even a part of like the, oh shit, this didn't work out drama that I love. Right? Like now I've kind of worked myself through this, and I know it's there now. So I'm not in it. I can observe it and watch it.
Right.
But I remember when I discovered it years ago, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm addicted to the breakdown as much as the breakthrough in the relationship.
Because it's dramatic.
It's dramatic, and I feel alive. Remember, we talked about aliveness and how we're always seeking aliveness, right?
Yeah.
So it could be very deep.
Excitement versus aliveness in this case, yes.
Yeah, well, so it could be very deep in people's sort of subconscious that it's like we create these lists for the one, but it's never worked in the past because, we keep cycling through relationships, marriage number 4, whatever. Those people may be so deeply and profoundly addicted to the breakdown that they keep setting themselves up to go through it because it makes them feel so alive. They're feeling their feelings. It's like the only way to feel my feelings is to sabotage my life. So I keep putting myself in situations, romantic situations that fall apart.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot
There's
of people,
something. Yeah.
There is. And to know, like I did an immersion session with a client yesterday, and it's meant to really break through some things. So her version of that, just to show an example of another version, is everything needs to be better. So she has an addiction to the fixing. Okay, this person needs to feel better. I need to feel better. I need to race to the finish line where everything's going to be better. And it's the same thing, right? Like you get to live in this movie. And there's no movie about a completely content person who's just enjoying the journey
It would kind of be a boring
Maybe
movie, though.
Forrest Gump, but they did
Don't
it
you
really
think it'd be a
well.
boring movie, though?
That's the point. So
Yeah.
like if you think, oh, I want this cinematic life. No, you don't. The whole point of writing a story is like, oh, and then there's the breakdown, and then the thing, and then the thing. Like you're asking for all of that drama, and if you want that, okay, choose it. The point I really wanted to make with the one is like every day is a choice about who you're relating yourself to be. So I get to decide who I get to be today. So sometimes I can wake up grumpy Jenna and be like, well, is this who you want to be, Jenna? Is this it? Is it? Do you want to create stories about why you're grumpy and and then like tell people on the phone, well, how are you? Well, I was on the phone. Yeah. Like, do I want to live that?
The potatoes.
Her? Can you believe it? Like, so I will actually watch my mind and be like, who do you want to be today? And I'm not thinking this thought, but we get to do this in relationship is the point. I get to choose who I'm with right now and continually choose. I'm like, okay, I can go date this person or this person or this person, but people don't give themselves that freedom. They think, well, that's cheating. It's like, no, what if I just thought about it? I'm like, no, I still choose this person. I'm choosing. I'm not like, we're together because we said so. It's an alive choosing. And that, I think, that perspective, like I said, like considering your relationships like Netflix subscription, like, am I choosing this? Do I want this on auto subscription? Like, is this serving me? And when I say serving you, not like meeting all your needs and picking the right potatoes, but like there's a feeling within you of choosing that is so empowering also for your partner. So I believe in choosing.
Just listening to you and going back to my thing about the
romantic.
Well, yeah. So
I see it's like 80s hairband hair in this version of Chad, by the way. Like that's who I see.
Could be. But I'm actually having a moment here live as we're recording this. And I'm like, this is super interesting. Like, what if I got to a place where I was so self-aware about my power of choice. And I was self-aware of the fact that, I hate it when I'm in it, but I love the dance and the journey of going into these romantic relationships. I know it's all a story. I'm telling myself the story. This is the one. I know I'm doing that because it's a game. Like I'm playing the game of my life as a romantic, drama. And like I'm just imagining someone coming and sitting with you in a therapy session, totally aware, like, oh, I know that I'm creating this. And I want to go through the whole thing of just talking it out with you now, but I know I'm creating it. Like, have you ever had someone who is that self-aware? No. That would be interesting though.
Actually, no, I do, but it's not in an empowered way.
Okay.
I'm aware I'm doing it, but I'm choosing it because that's their addiction. And so when I say addiction, I mean, it's not really choice. It's falling into a pattern, it's falling into a habit. It has you don't have it. But I think there's a reality, which I think is essentially what human beings are doing all the time, is experiencing life. And the experience is the point. In order to have the experience, and that sounds probably ridiculous out loud, but you can choose whatever experience you want. And I think there is a certain point where people can awaken and then go, I'm going to go through this relationship with this really fascinating character and not make anything about me and just move through the journey. Like you could do that.
Yeah. Like that's not most people, but I'm just saying there's in the world of choice and aliveness, there is the possibility of someone doing the work that we're talking about to surrender and get completely connected to themselves, and then choosing to engage in the narrative or the story of life that is this romantic drama. And they know, because they're conscious of it, at any time they can drop it and say, okay, I'm done with it. But it's like, to me, that's a really powerful place to be. It may look the same as someone who's fully immersed in believing there's the one, and but they don't believe that. They're just playing. It's like they're an actor. They're like, I'm going to just play this out.
Yeah,
that could be really interesting.
And I think I actually
that's how weird my mind is, though, Jenna. It goes into like these weird things. So.
Well, the choice, right? So I'm going to choose to have this experience. I think potentially there could be a very small percentage of people 100% doing that. I'm going to be the CEO of this company that thinks that killing all of this wildlife is a feasible idea. Like, just to be like, what is this like? Like, what? It's why we watch movies. It is why we watch movies.
It's why we watch movies.
We're going into that world that we would never otherwise. And so I actually believe there are people doing that right now. Like, they're not.
Yeah, they're the story writer and they're the character in the story at the same time.
They're watching and they're watching it happen. And they're like, okay, I'm this corporate sociopath. And not all people in corporate are, just but there are. Yeah. there are. They're making decisions with no sense of integrity or humanity, just for profit. That's the thing. But anyway, we get off this. But the point is that in the opportunity of relationship is to co-create it. And in that co-creation, you're also co-creating yourself.
Yeah.
You get to watch each other do it.
Yeah.
And I think when you're really living this way, like I don't talk to the guy I'm seeing sometimes, and I'm like, well, I've been like, so much has happened in 3 days. Like, when you're living this way, like, this version of me did this, and then I thought this, and then this happened, and I thought of this, and this synchronicity happened, and some of it's like no one would ever see it, and which I think is so cool with a witness, like a witness beside you that you're inviting to be a witness. And I think that's the other piece is like, I don't see dating and partnership as this flippant companion only thing.
Yeah.
Potential is like, look at that rainbow. Like, you get to witness with the person.
Yeah.
You don't need them. You could still look at the rainbow, but you're like, did you notice the thing? And then they might notice something else that you didn't notice.
Totally different. Yeah. We're all in different perceptual experiences.
There was a donkey. I didn't even see the donkey. And now, like, your reality is now expanded.
Did you ever see the YouTube? Sorry, you said rainbow, and as an example of us needing a witness, huh?
The devil rainbow. Anyway,
I think it was the double rainbow guy who was losing his mind. But the point of that, though, is he recorded it for other people to witness with him, and he was the commentary, and he was crying and losing his mind. Right?
What does this mean? What does this mean? I love it so much, and it's so innocent and genuine, and obviously possibly enhanced by substances, which doesn't get any less genuine. But
we're all like that in our life.
Well,
what does this mean? Look at this. Look what he did.
But also the flipping on the phone. This is so cool. Someone's got to see this. Like, and it's most, I do find that people, my mom does this all the time. She'll leave the moment to take the photo. So, but the aspect of that is like, oh my God, this is so cool. Someone needs to see this. And that's our desire to share experiences. Now we should leave the moment to capture the perfect thing that'll be on your Instagram. That's the program. Oh, this is going to be so good. People are going to think this is so cool because I posted this. But the genuineness is, look at this. It's this really cool energy, because singing now, I know I'm doing a good job when all I see are phones, because that's the new engaged audience. Like, oh my God, this is so good.
The new engagement is disengagement.
I have to video it. So if I'm singing and then I sing this one song and then everyone's phones are out, I'm like, oh, whatever I'm doing here is really working. Yeah.
There was this, I don't know if you saw it, Roger Waters from Pink Floyd.
Oh, yeah.
The old lead singer of Pink Floyd. He went on to do a solo career, but it happened like, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, maybe 8 years ago, since, smartphones for sure in the last decade. And he was doing this concert and he stopped the song midway and told everyone to put their fucking phones away. He's like, this is not how you engage with music. And he lost it. And
hard for
and he sat there waiting for people to put their phones away, or he wasn't continuing the show.
I mean, it's almost like good parenting too, because it's like, hey, pay attention. Hey, brush your teeth so they don't fall out. Like, you're missing out here.
Yeah.
Because again, the conditioning and like, oh my God, I got to capture this. And like the voices in your head running your life versus the opportunity of the moment, then that's the balance. But the shared experiences is so genuinely human, of having the one the one that's here at that moment. And I've talked to you about the Mario coins. Like, I think there's different people that have Mario coins for you, where like in the engagement with them, a different levels of intimacy. You don't have to be romantic with them. But there's something about a romantic partnership where, and this is how you and I started this whole podcast, where I was like, I've been dating and it's been fascinating to date without the list, the type and the this. Obviously, there's like attraction and not attraction. So it is what it is. But I'll always question it.
But you don't know much about the person, probably, right? So it's like all energetics.
So you can tell a lot too.
Yeah.
I can also tell a lot, but I'll follow the, and this is where we talk about being a whole human, the energetics of it. I'll see, is there life in their eyes? Because that's the first place I start. Are they looking at do they have sunglasses on? Are they looking away? Are they trying to look cool? That's all an instant no for me.
If they have sunglasses on, so you
in
on
every
your list,
photo?
Oh, in every photo, yeah.
I'm like, dude, what are you hiding? Like,
what if they're just in a sunny place all the time and it agitates their eyes?
Not for me.
Okay.
I don't want to find out. Because I do believe because I'm living mostly co-creatively, now I'm engaging the aliveness of life, the synchronicities, that I do think life speaks your language. So like, there is something to having a type if you're not attached to it. Because now sometimes that's how you pay attention. That's how you take the invitation and the opportunities, because you're like, ooh, I like scallop potatoes. So I'm going to go to the scallop potato buffet. And then you meet the person and the thing, and it activates all the synchronicities of life, because spirit is going to give you these little carrots to dangle, knowing you're just a little kid that's like, I like it. And I think that's adorable and loving.
Yeah.
To work with us, for us. But when it's our own neurotic addiction, we'll only eat there if it has this specific, like, and it's just this like control that squeezes the life out of life.
Yeah.
That's not the stuff
absolutely
we're talking about. But I think at the end of the day, when we're not attached, like we've been talking about, the creativity of life can engage with us and like guide us to certain things and experiences.
So let's kind of move into some takeaways for people today on,
for sure.
If you're someone who's got the list, if you're someone who believes there's the one that you're trying to correlate your list with, what are some ways for people to kind of begin to nudge themselves away from that and to coming to spontaneous living, start to explore those uncomfortable things because they're not on the list, and experiencing, people in relationship, if you're dating or whatever, like to open up what the possibility, door, that there's more to it than maybe what's on your list. Like people, it's kind of like, I only eat these types of food, and then someone invites you spontaneously to, I don't know, a Japanese restaurant. You've never had sushi before, and you try it, and you're like, damn, this is amazing, right?
Or
so you would never have tried.
I don't like it, and I therefore choose it now that I don't like. And so that they both go together. Like, oh, cool, I didn't even know I liked this thing that I didn't know, and also, oh, I've now confirmed that I don't like this thing, and therefore need to say yes to it again, and not be. If anyone's like, oh, you're not living fully, you're like, cool. I choose this. So anyway, I think the list, as you said earlier, as we both share the idea that what matters to you, what are your values? I talk about being a self-anthropologist all the time. Like what kind of friends have you really enjoyed hanging out with? Who was that guy that you dated and you're like, oh, I love this and this? Like to me, I'm gathering the data from life and myself, not versus just society's goals and values. But I would say the list should reflect something like that. Like, and then go ahead with it, but don't hold it so tightly, and let it be this alive thing where you're like, where can I, like for my example right now, actually, that I've already just done is like, I'm in a primary partnership with this guy, and he wasn't really showing up for a month the way I wanted him to. And I was like, well, fuck this guy. And then I'm like, okay, what do I want him to do? What is he not doing? He's not showing up for me. Okay. Am I showing up for me? And then like that weird feeling in my stomach where I'm like, no, I'm not. Shit. So I'm like, I'm going to show up for me. I'm going to be my own primary partner. I'm going to, as soon as I'm like, he needs to do this, I go back to myself and I go, have you sang today? Have you wrote today? Did you show up for you? And now this isn't going to, I can't guarantee this for everybody, but everything changed with him.
Mm-hmm.
So the opportunity is like, oh, here's something that's missing and here's something that I want from them. And then I took the opportunity to go, where am I not showing up for myself?
Yeah.
That's a heightened way of being able to look at the world. It takes some steps to get there where it's not coming from conditions and controlling, but that would be to do the list. Are you fit and healthy that you want the person to be? Like,
right.
And this isn't about conditional loving. It's just about actual congruency, actual compatibility. And then get curious about what could surprise you in you think they need to be this way or this way. But if you're good, then they can just be them. Then you can have a good relationship. Then all of those conditions can fall away and you can just kind of have this more alive experience of this person who's showing you life from different perspectives.
Exactly.
And I think that's what happens with most people. I would never have dated that guy. It came from left field. And then they end up married in a really good partnership.
Yeah.
Because I would never have dated a person like this. I hear this all the time when somebody meets somebody they're more a match to. A really common thing is I wasn't attracted to him in the beginning. I wasn't this and that. Then suddenly it was this great thing. So I think the list can bring you more clarity. It can bring you more clarity about yourself. But then all of it needs to be dropped at some point because life is alive. But that doesn't mean you abandon. Like there are things that I know, I've been a professional me for so long, that they have to be a non-addict. They have to love animals. Like it's just going to not work. Like if you don't love animals, like I love them. Like if you don't, I will just that's just not going to work. Lifestyle things. Anyway, so I think the one is a choice. And I think you have to be the one for
yourself,
not in a toxic, independent way. Yeah. You be the one and then let other people be invitations to more aspects and expansion while you're whole and complete. And that starts to be more fun.
Yeah. So there's, I looked up before we started recording today, different kinds of lists that are sort of typical.
List of lists?
Yeah. Well, I was just curious of what the advice that people, like if you go to these different websites and stuff like that, like now some of the lists were, someone who doesn't shame me, someone who respects my values or shares my values, like those are more sort of deeper kinds of lists. And then there's the ones that I think a lot of people fall into, they have to look a certain way. I mean, I'm not saying looks aren't important. There's got to be chemistry and attractiveness, right? Of course. Yeah. But don't define it as a line item because you might be surprised, what you find yourself oddly attracted to. And you're like, that doesn't match the list. Well, then throw the list away. Right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely don't take the list over the person.
But I think a lot of people do that.
I could see that. that. Yeah, I could. And they're like,
because they see it as like a protective boundary to make sure they don't fall into something. It's like, well, even though I'm feeling this way, the list, no. So, but anyway, so there's are you healthy? If health is important and that's on your list, treat the list. I guess this is my takeaways. Treat the list of the things that you aspire to for yourself that you're projecting onto someone else to complete for you. This is your to-do list. This isn't theirs, for the most part. And then the other thing about a list that I find problematic is that it cuts off possibility because there's also stuff that's not on the list that you're not even thinking about, that you're not even relating to as important. And that cuts off the possibility of who you might stumble into. And we've all seen these movies of, it tends to be more women than men who have kind of the list thing going on, and they run into this guy in a grocery store, and it's like, oh, this guy's not on my list, but I'm oddly attracted to him, right?
But those are the really fun journeys to watch where like you as the spectator gets to see how like, oh, he's showing her love in a different way than she's like, I love the movie French Kiss, the
I haven't seen that
romantic comedy. Oh, it's so good because she's like, not into this guy and he's everything she doesn't want. And she's like, you're this, you're that. But she's so ridiculously authentic that he starts to find her charming. You watch it all happen. It's Meg Ryan and Kevin Kline. They do such a good job. I have to rewatch that. But like, if you can live lightly, but have your standards and values, I've literally been doing that experiment on myself. Like the guy I'm seeing isn't things on my list. And I'm not holding this list so tightly, because the other advice I give is to date not loosely, like do whatever you want, but like just meet people, go on a date. Like sometimes go on a date and I'm like, oh, we seem compatible. And then I'm like, oh, it's fucking like so selfish. So like talks, fills all the space. I'm like, okay, bye. Like sometimes the experience on the date is going to start to give you more clarity, real reality, not just this list because you read a book and you watched a podcast and all of it's like not real, not related. Yeah. So to get better at relationship, relate more on training wheels. Like start with dates. You don't have to become boyfriend, girlfriend. You know, my mom's dating now because I'm making her. And she's like, you can date several people at the same time. I'm like, yes, mom is dating. You're not committing, you know, you'd have 3 people can be calling you because there's no anyway to let the relating be the point. Go on the date to explore. Don't do it to like suffer through things. Like as soon as you're on a phone call, you could be like, oh no, okay, well thanks for your time. My sign off is happy dating, great meeting you. Like I don't think we're a match. It can be taken in different ways. You know, but just to let the relating itself be how, and when I say the Mario coins, I mean, I'll learn parts of myself through other people.
I only got 1 Mario coin from this guy, but but I got 3 from this guy.
I literally needed a microwave. I didn't end up like, this guy's too selfish, and ended up, he's like, do you want a microwave? And so it's like this consolation prize from the universe, as far as I'm concerned, to be like, well, you went to the date, you got a microwave. It's so great.
Wow, the price is right.
But that's when you feel whole and complete and you're like, okay, that, you know, I drove there, I took my time, I spent my time, and I'm like, but I got a microwave. So like everything's good. Like
all I can hear is Bob Barker. Oh, new car.
Missing. You're not wrong. But that's okay, the fulfillment of life is the point, and not the people fulfilling you, because then life fulfilled me, not the relationship in that moment.
So from one musician to another, there's this great lyric in the song by Vertical Horizon, Everything You Want. You probably know that song.
I have to hear it.
It's making me think of the list, and it goes, he is everything you want. He is everything you need. He's everything inside of you that you wish you could be. There's the list. He says all the right things at exactly the right time, but he means nothing to you, and you don't know why. An example of someone who's got the list, everything's checked, and there's just no thing going on.
And that happens
here.
Too, right? Yeah. And here's the thing, because you're not dating the human.
Yeah.
You're dating a concept. And so you got to like let that go. Like if someone's dating to date the list and they're so fixated on it, it's a protective mechanism.
Yeah.
You're not alive with that person. So like the real goal is get as clear as you can to go relate with people, especially if you're single. Go relate with people. Don't get so perfect and perfectionisty, and then you'll go on the date. Like go on date. Yeah.
All right, we're going to wrap it up there. This was good. Yeah. So I think we covered a lot around the one. I enjoyed this deep dive. It's got me thinking in a lot of different directions. It's interesting. If you have a list, just start to look at it as like it is your list. So it's a list of things you need, and you can give pretty much most of the things on your list to yourself.
Yeah.
And if you do, then you're going to be in a totally different, I guess it's a source of inner power, a position of inner power to be able to engage with others spontaneously, creatively. It can be fun. It can be playful because you're not trying to get anything from them. You've already got it all.
Yeah. And you're allowed to have standards. So it doesn't mean not
Sure.
having standards. It's, like a certain amount of how someone treats their family, how like the basic standards of like who you want to relate to. So that we'll just add that in. Like,
Well, I think that could be something we could explore on another show is values
yeah.
versus,
Mhm.
I need them to be fit. Being dating someone who has to meet a certain level of fitness isn't a value, right? And it just tells me that you need to be fit. Is what that tells me.
But then there's compatibility, whereas like I work out several times a week, I eat a certain way, where I've noticed dating people, being in a relationship with people that don't have those values is really like it's just too conflicting.
So I think health can be a value, like the importance of health.
Yeah, but not like body fat percentage, like
Exactly.
because that'll change.
So,
someone can get an injury, someone can get sick. Like you're putting all these perfect conditions on life.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So I think values is a totally different conversation.
Yeah.
That we could get into, but the sort of superficial checklist of who this person needs to be is kind of what we're addressing here. And this notion of that there's just one, and that's it. You might want to let that go. Because otherwise you're going to be losing a lot of potential and opportunity and experience. If you're saying no to everyone that is not the list.
I did that for 5 years. This guy doesn't meet my standards. And they weren't like high, super like ridiculous, but that stopped me from engaging with people. And then that's when I started dating that other style. And I was like, oh, it's more fun.
Yeah. Well, it allows you into the world of spontaneity. So, okay. Jenna and I are doing the Jungle and the Gardener workshop starting in September. This is for couples and singles. And it's all of the things you kind of hear us talk about, only it's an opportunity for you to integrate them in a community setting, in a group setting, into your own life. And it's an opportunity for you to meet people, to connect to others, to talk about these things, as opposed to just being the listener of these things. You get to participate. So go to thejungleandthegardener.com. There is a sign up sheet there. We're just seeing how much interest there is right now. So what you're signing up for is you're just saying, I'm interested. I'd like to learn more. And then we're going to have calls with everyone in advance and kind of get to know and see if it's a fit for you. So it's a really casual sort of onboarding process into this program. And it just begins with you putting your hand up and saying, I'm interested. I want to learn more. So if you go to thejungleandthegardener.com, it's long on purpose so that you have to be present and type and notice if you get a little frustrated. There's something
so made up, Chad.
Huh?
That's so made up.
Well, I could have done jandg.com. I could have done that, right? I mean,
I just want to add that it's not a conversation; it's a transformational experience. So it is about taking the concepts of where you're stuck and providing opportunity to actually move through the stuckness to the new opportunity, the new reality. Just to be clear, it's not just conversations.
No, but the conversation is the sort of medium through which we embody and integrate these things. No, it's good to point it out. It's not just, we're not just having coffee talk, right?
No,
as they say.
No, you're not just part of the podcast.
No. The intention is that you are a different person, and therefore you at the end of the program, and then you are actually engaging in deeper, richer, more meaningful relationships. It's the thing we talked about today. It's the ability to kind of work on your list and integrate it into yourself and become that, so that you can actually have more fulfilling relationships in life, and it gets a lot more fun. So that's the outcome that you'll be able to experience. So okay, this was a good show. We will see you all later. Not sure what we're going to talk about next time, so we'll keep that a mystery. So you have to come check it out. And thanks for joining us on The Jungle and the Gardener. We'll see you soon.
That concludes this episode of The Most Important Conversations. This in-depth conversation could set you on the path to self-improvement, which is essential if you want to be an effective leader and take meaningful action in your life. If you enjoyed this episode and want more of these stimulating discussions, you can find them at TMICglobal.com. Remember, the world is at a crossroads right now. You can't afford to waste this opportunity to take charge of your life. build meaningful relationships with others, and co-create a brighter tomorrow. Thank you for listening. See you on the next one.